Hello and welcome to the Games Kingdom. My name's Carl King and today we're going to be doing an unboxing for an upcoming Kickstarter from a company called Antares Games. This is a pre-release edition that they've sent me for Antares Kingdoms, and it's a card based game, and we're going to have a quick look through the contents of the box. I have to say that if these are the components that you get, they are, even with this pre-release copy, exceptionally good quality. And you know, as with all Kickstarters and pre-release copies of these things, they may not be the final components that go into production once a Kickstarter is fulfilled. But as I said, these are exceptional quality for a game of its type. And let's have a quick look through. So we've got several punch boards of some coins. So very nice, solid, and as I say, very nice quality. We've got some smaller value coins. As I say, with all of these you get a front and a back view. A lot of coins, when you get these, they tend to just be printed the same front and back, but these are nice because they are a different sort of image on the front to what's on the back. So as I say, very nice touch for that, and you get two of those. And then you also get some markers for your actual game board, your faction board. So again, you get the front and you get the back, and you turn over the backs during the game to signify getting to a certain point on your player area. We've also got some sort of player aids. These are currently just printed on paper. I don't know if these are going to be a different when you get the game. It would be nice if they were of a similar sort of card, maybe thickness to those, but for this pre-production copy, these more than suffice. And if this came with the game, I wouldn't be too disappointed, to be honest. It's a 1 to 5 player game, so we've got 5 here, and basically it sort of tells you, which is quite handy with a lot of these games that you get these days, what your main actions can be taken, and you can get 2 of these per turn. So you can do any 2 of those, and then you can do any number of the free actions. So it will actually sort of explain quite comprehensively there what you can and can't do. And as I say, there's 1 for each player. And then we come on to the sort of kingdom boards or faction boards. Again, you get 5 of those, and yeah, these are sort of areas of traits and things that you can build up, resources, military strength. So you've got sort of wealth tracks, common goods, townships. So you sort of move your marker along. One of those markers gets placed here and on each of these tracks, and you sort of move them along as you sort of play through the game turns. And on the edges here you can see 3, 2 and a 1. This is where you play your cards, and the cards have different values, and what happens is you play them from your hand, they sit here, and then each turn they move down 1 until they become part of your kingdom, and they will then move to this side of the board. So if we sort of represent that by having 1 here sort of facing you and 1 facing me, you will play your cards here, and then the cards will transfer to this side of the board, and they will form a row of cards that you will build up to be able to get certain attributes and resources and other things during the game. So as I say, each player will get 1 of those. You can also play this solo, so you set 1 of these up for the AI player, and at the end of each sort of age, decade, era, whatever you like to call it, it is a decade. You play 1 card each year, which is set out as part of the sort of setup of the game. And then, as I say, you play your cards, they sit in your kingdom area, and you get certain attributes and abilities from that. You all start in the game with a certain sort of rank, and then you can build up from just being a sort of lowly peasant up to a queen or a king. There are several packs of cards, all very nicely sort of artworked, and we'll quickly try and open one of these packs. As you can see, I've not opened any of these prior to doing the video. I wanted it to be sort of done on camera, as it were, but then you get the sort of trickiness and awkwardness of trying to do this and unravel the pack without sort of damaging the cards. So, but they are nicely and tightly packed for such a small sort of box. There is a lot of weight to the game. There are quite a number of cards. In fact, you've got 80. You've got sort of close on a couple of hundred cards, to be honest, if not more than that. But yeah, you've got town cards, swordsman's, so quarries, and these ones are sort of double-ended. You've got a quarry and a fortification, because during the game there are things that will come and attack you. There are warfare cards in the game, and then you've got your opportunity cards, and then your endeavour cards. So all of these will tell you on the back what they are. So they're all endeavour cards, and you sort of put those into piles, and you sort of shuffle those, and you get a hand of 5 cards per player. That one opened a lot easier. You've got your heraldry. Now there are 12 factions in the game, and basically you can randomly generate these. They're all numbered from 1 to 12, but so you've got different clans, different factions, and as I say, there's 12 there, so there's a lot of replayability with the factions, and they will give you specific sort of traits, and it will tell you on the card what those are and what you can do, and that's basically your house. So a bit like the houses in things like Harry Potter, or the factions in things like Game of Thrones. You've got all of your different things there, and you get one of those, and I suppose the easiest way to do that would be to shuffle them out and deal them out randomly, or you could give them to players and let them choose and pass round. But that's your heraldry. Then you've got all of your nobles, so you've got a queen for each player, there's a king for each player, lord of dominion, dukes, trade masters, esquire, down to your starting character, which is the peasant. So you all begin like that, and you then can progress through the game to becoming the ruler of the kingdom. So you've got your end of decade cards, and your kingdom wealth cards, and your dominion cards. So again, you know, there's a lot of variability in those. And then we've got some more endeavour cards here and more dominion cards. Let's have a quick look through both of these if we can whilst we're on camera. Try and slice into this again and have a bit of a tidy up. So again, more dominion cards, similar to earlier. And then you've got your year event cards. So again, you've got lots of these, which will give you, again, as I say, lots of replayability, because these are put out on the table and determine what happens throughout each decade. And then you've got more opportunity cards for the pristine mountains, and we've got one more pack of cards here. I'll try and get into that as quickly as possible again. So again, more Endeavour cards. In fact, that is a whole pack of more Endeavour cards. And again, as you can see, you've got grain field and peasants, so they're all double-ended, or dual use, and you build up these things like the grain fields into your tableau and your towns, and they allow you to do certain actions once you've got to a certain set number in your kingdom area. So as you can see, there's quite a stack of cards that you get in the game, and these are very nice quality, as with most of the games that I own. If this gets used a lot, I will look to sleeve them just to keep them nice and clean. I must admit, I don't like seeing cards being sort of handled and damaged even by myself when I'm playing through games, whether with friends or solo. And then we have a nice, quite chunky little A5 rulebook, which is very comprehensive, some excellent artwork, and as you can see, gives you a little introduction into the game, gives you the box content so you can check straight from the get-go, like we have here, that you've got exactly what it says on the tin. You've got a gameplay overview, so you've got your 10-year events in each decade. So that's what those cards were that we showed you earlier, these ones, the year events. You spread out so many of these per decade, so you've got 10 of those, so there's 30 of those used per game, and you play through those 3 decades, and at the end, the one with the most true mark points is the winner of the game. And there's different ways of getting those true mark points. You set up your play area like this, depending on the amount of players. You can do it lengthways like that, or across if it's easier for you to keep a tally, to go across 1 to 5. When you do this, you set them up, and year 5 you also put the wealth, the kingdom wealth card on the top of card 5, so that will determine what happens in there. As I say, at the minute I haven't played a game of this, but I hope to get one on camera in the coming couple of weeks and see how it plays. I'll probably do a few playthroughs off camera just to get the hang of how the turns work before venturing on camera for that. And then obviously you've got the end of decade card, so that goes at the end of each decade, but this gets refilled with a new set of 10 cards every year, or every decade I should say, and you've got your years that you play through. And as I say, you get 2 main actions per year, and you get as many free actions as you wish. Now this game is a game where all players play at the same time. They all take their turns at the same time. You're not moving on a board, there's no sort of meeples and things, so it's basically you're playing your cards from your hand onto the board area, as I say, where you've got the areas here, and each time these happen, each turn, these cards move down and they go into your kingdom. So depending on the level of the card, they might start as a 3, a 2 or a 1. There are ways that you can sort of move them on quicker than that, but that's all explained in the rules. You can sort of pay resources and money and things to move that across and down and into your kingdom quicker. And obviously the quicker you get the cards into your kingdom, the quicker you can do other things. You can also, as I say, build yourself up from a peasant all the way up to nobility. With that obviously becomes you get more things that you will get back from the game, and more things that it will ask you to do. So when you're a lowly peasant, the warfare will be at a certain strength, but as you gain more power and more responsibility, when the warfare card comes out, or cards, you never know how many there will be, you will then have to be more resilient against those warfare attacks. And during the rounds, the years, it's up to you to decide on your defences, what you're going to put into things, so that when those warfare cards come out, you don't get caught out, because if you can't pay to defend yourself against those attacks, then you lose cards and money and resources. So there are sort of penalties to not being able to do the defending against the warfare cards. But on the flip side, when you're choosing to do your defense action by playing certain things during the game, that impacts on you not getting money and resources. So it's all a sort of a balance and juggling act, which as you rise up through the ranks of these things is often the case. So as I say, you've got your nice sort of rule book. It clearly shows you the turn sequence of what you do. It shows you how to set up your player area. You all set up the same. There are certain, on the heraldry cards, there are certain factions that it might give you more starting hand cards. Most players will only get 5. I think there is one, maybe 2 that might give you more than that. I think one gives you up to 7, but it's all explained on the faction card that you get if you have any additional things. And then it tells you how to do your free actions. So you can expedite, and this is where you can move a card. So you can move it down from the side of the board by paying coins. You can move it down from 3 to 2 before it's due to go down there on its own volition, or you can pay for it to become from 1 and go into your kingdom. But as I say, that costs you money to do that. So you've got to again balance out whether you need that money for something else. You might need it for defense if you haven't got enough defense for upcoming warfare card. So again, it's all a matter of balancing out what you're going to do during the game. I've had a quick sort of skim through the rules. They are very, very comprehensive, and there are quite a few, as you can see, different steps that you can do. You can flip certain cards. This is your kingdom tracker. So as I say, you've got your tokens that sit on there, and they will move up and down, and it's the one with the most true mark points at the end, as I say, will determine the winner of the game. So you've got the other cards that are all explained. So you've got your endeavour cards, your opportunity cards, the heraldry cards, or the factions. You've got your rank cards, which basically means, you know, when you're going up from peasant to hopefully king or queen. So you've got your things like commoner status, class hierarchy, dominion cards, and then at the end you've got a glossary of all the terminologies in the game. So you know, you've got the coins, they're all worth 1, and the coin with the gem in it, there's only 1 sheet of those, but they're worth 5. So basically, if you start to run out of coins between the players, they can exchange those and have 5 coins in one of the 5 coins instead, and it sort of just helps with the sort of upkeep of the game. And then you've got a list of icons, and obviously at the back here you've got the credits of the company and the people who are behind the game. We've got a little game summary on the back of the book, which is always helpful as well, but you've got your play sheet sort of reference there, which will help you with your round actions. And this is the Pristine Mountains land booklet. So this is another area of the game, and this is to do with campaigns really. So you've got a 2 to 5 player campaign there, but you can also play, as I say, as a solo player. You play against an AI, and at the end of each decade you draw a certain amount of cards. You draw 5 at the end of the first, 6 at the end of the second, and 7 Dominion cards at the end of the third decade. So they will have a total of 18 achievements, and then obviously that will determine how many points they get as the AI. You're playing through the decade as you would normally against human opponents, and then, as I say, your points will rank up, and so will the AIs, and then you'll determine whether you've won the game solo. So I'm going to have a crack at that at some point over the coming days. And again, you've got details of the Endeavour card sets, grain fields, quarries, towns. Then you've got peasants, swordsmen, fortifications, and then you've got your achievements and innovations. So it'll just give you things there about your year events, so that's a bit more of an explanation. The warfare, civil uprising, Gambit's curse, and then your opportunity cards at the back there. And you've got a little Pristine Mountain summary achievement set on the back of this booklet as well. So hopefully that's given you a little look into what's in the box. As I say, there seems to be a lot going on. There's a lot of cards here, a lot to sort of look at, and just by looking through the book, there's not too much to keep a track of, because some of it sort of resets as you're playing through the decades. So things are ever evolving. Your gaming kingdom will be changing all the time. You'll be moving up and down on your board. You'll be moving hopefully up in class. You can sort of better yourself, but as I say, with those betterments become sort of greater responsibilities within the game for you to keep track of, and sort of make sure that when certain things come out, like the warfare cards, you've got enough things in hand to deal with those. So as I say, this is the Antares Kingdoms Kickstarter, coming to Kickstarter between a planned date of the 1st and the 31st of March 2022, so not far off now, just about 6 weeks. We're now in the sort of middle of January 2022. As I say, this is a pre-release edition of the game. This is, I think, at the minute the size of the game that's going to go onto Kickstarter. Whether there will be some add-ons or stretch goals, I'm not sure of that at this point. Maybe some of those sort of stretch goals might be an upgrade of components. I'd like to see, you know, potentially as an add-on or an upgrade stroke stretch goal, that this is a dual layered board, so that you can sort of put your tokens in here and they don't move around. That would be nice, but it's not essential, because I think, you know, as you're looking after this yourself, and it's a sort of self-management game, and as I said earlier, you're all playing the same turns at the same time based on what you're laying, and based on the cards that come out for each year, you're going to be able to do certain things or not be able to do certain things. But a nice little dual layered board would be good, but failing that, you could probably 3D print something that would overlay over the top of that, and you could sit it underneath and whiz along and help to sort of keep everything in place. If it had like little indentations here for the cards, or a little raised area that you could sort of put it on or under, that would be good, just to slot them in and keep them in there, and then sort of move them down each turn. And yeah, there's not much that I would change, to be honest. Nice, excellent sort of artwork, and nice quality. As I say, if this is the quality of the cards, the card stock and the rule books and the box, a nice little box there, no wastage. You do see a lot of games now coming out in retail and things, and there's a lot of space in the box. You won't get that with this. It's nicely packed, and I would say, again, the only other thing that I would potentially look at is to make sure that this box is deep enough if somebody was to sleeve all the cards, maybe even offer sleeves as an additional stretch goal. so that people can get, or as an add-on that people can get, so that they don't need to worry. But they're all the same. Again, the other thing that I like about this, all the cards, all the same size. So you haven't got to worry about buying 2 different or 3 different sizes of sleeves. I've got some games on the shelves where they've got 2 and sometimes 3 different sizes of cards in the game. So you'll buy different sizes of sleeves for those cards. Just make them all the same size. A lot easier to handle like this, especially for a card driven game. This is excellent. So if you like the look of this, keep an eye out for it. Check out, they've got a Kickstarter page which is work in progress. There's also a website, AntaresKingdoms.com. The guys are based in Australia. There is a Facebook page as well. So if you like the look of this, get on there, have a look. There's also a couple of videos online. One was a small marketing video, which I think is going to be part of the Kickstarter campaign, and there was also a small playthrough by another gaming company stroke similar to myself, who've just done a quick overview of how to play the game. Obviously I haven't done that today, this is an unboxing video, but as I say, hopefully within the next few weeks I'll get a video out there, and it'll show a quick little playthrough of the game, even if it's only maybe 1 decade. I'll try and do that, maybe try and do the last, put the last decade out on camera, but if it doesn't last too long, I'll try and see if I can get a whole game out there, just so you guys can see how the actual rounds play out and what happens, especially against the AI component. And as I say, Kickstarter March 1st to March 31st planned date. That's Antares Kingdoms from Sandtime Games. So keep an eye out, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.